end of the day, everybody will be blessed. At the end of the day, everybody will be positively impacted, and our nation will no longer remain the same. Our impact in the global scene will be positive. Daddy, let this meeting be a successful one. In the name of Jesus Christ, we have prayed.
Amen. Thank you so much, sir. Okay, welcome everybody to the Queen Elizabeth II and Nigerian independence, the lessons for the present Nigerian democracy, and the hope for 2023. Madam Oloyinka, please, are you still with me, please? Hello, Madam Oloyinka.
Yes, I am. I'm still here, sir.
All right, thank you.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear. I can hear you.
Brilliant. I'm still here.
Yeah. All right. So without wasting much of the time, I will allow you to take the welcome address and also introduction of the association and the ESCOs. Please. Thank you so much, madam. Over to you.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. We're so glad that you've taken out your time to join this wonderful program this afternoon. So I've been asked to do the welcome address. So I would like to welcome our father that is here today, Mr. Femi Makinde. Thank you for joining us, sir. We're so glad that you've joined us today. And I also believe that I'll be introducing the Nigerian Student Association UK. The vision is to ensure not just Nigerian, but all African students in Anglian Ruskin University achieve their major purpose of being in school with little or no problem. And they also want to ensure that they maximize the enormous opportunity in the UK. So they want to ensure that they maximize the enormous opportunities being in Anglian Ruskin University and being in the UK environment present with. And also they want to fostering the unity among all African students in the UK and UK at large that will ensure the success of the above. So thanks for joining us this afternoon. I'm going to hand over back to MC Mayor.
All right, thank you so much, Madam Oloyinka. I appreciate you so much. It's a wonderful job you guys are doing over there. We want to give it to you. Thank you so much. All right, I also want to appreciate Daddy, a wonderful daddy that just rendered the opening prayer, Pastor Olufemi Makinde. God bless you, sir. More anointing, sir. All right, without wasting much of the time, it's time for me to bring the first speaker. The Nigerian High Commissioner to the UK, Ambassador Sarafa Tunji Ishola. I don't know if he is here currently. Yes, Ambassador, sir. Good afternoon, sir. Hello, my ambassador. Good afternoon, sir. I don't know if I can confirm his availability. Madam Oloyinka, I don't know if you can confirm his availability, man.
I don't think he's joined us just yet. He is not currently here at the moment.
Okay. I think without wasting much of your time, let me. Okay, I don't know if can we confirm those that are available currently, Madam Mr. Oladosu. Oladosu. I'm saying. Oh, I'm seeing my wonderful associate professor. I don't know if it's him, the former director of Nigerian Institute of Cultural Studies, OAU Ile-Ife. Associate Professor Oladosu. Well done, sir.
Good afternoon.
Well done, sir. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing all right. Thank you. Happy
Independence.
1st of October.
How's everything over there, sir?
Ah, well, we are still breathing.
Wow, wow. Madam Olaika, when you hear an associate professor replying that we are still breathing, you should know that we also need to.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I can imagine what it's like for non-professors.
Yeah, exactly.
And the student alike.
Student alike,
I can
yeah.
imagine.
So,
Yes.
It's been tough these days, but we are tough people.
All right, sir. Okay, sir. I want to bring you in now to have your own section for 15 minutes. I'm actually going to stick strictly to the time, sir. I apologize for that because I've been told to be strictly to the time. So, sir, I'll bring you on, sir. Sir, please, sir. You have your time, sir. Thank you, sir.
If you allow me, let me introduce Mr. Jerry. I'm really sorry to cut you short.
All right, please do.
Just to introduce Mr. Jare Oladosu is an associate professor in philosophy, and he majors in ethics, political philosophy, and philosophy law. He is the former director of the Nigerian Institute of Cultural Studies. He has produced and mentored many great scholars, one of whom the President Association is proud to be, and even the former Chancellor of University of Ibadan. So please allow me to welcome Associate Professor Oladosu. Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon. It's afternoon out there too. Now, let me start by appreciating the effort of the organizers. I will try to keep to the time. I don't want to incur the wrath of that enforcer. Now, for organizing this symposium, now you are the kind of youth that I will pray should proliferate in our nation. Now, a little caveat on the profile you read out. I was a former director, Institute of Cultural Studies, OAU, not National Institute of Cultural Studies. So just some details. Now, let me also remark that spending our nation's independence anniversary day, holding a symposium such as this is both inspired and altogether appropriate. Now, think of it. There isn't much to celebrate anyway. So we might as well spend the day reflecting on our the journey of our nationhood. Where did the rain start beating the vulture, or shall we say, where did the rain start beating the Nigerian? And I must also remark that the theme you have chosen is also very topical. Our nation's independence flag was handed to our founding leaders by the late Queen of England, Queen Elizabeth II. Now, as we all know, after 70 years of a most eventful reign, the Queen passed on this last September 8th, this year. So unprecedented global outpouring of veneration, eulogies, and encomiums for a job well done. Now, perchance, and you know nations die too, just perchance, and God forbid, if Nigeria dies, what would the eulogies read like? What would be the inscription on the headstone? Again, as my Igbo compatriot will say, Tofi Akwa, God forbid bad thing. Nigeria will but just, food for thought. What are we going to write on the tombstone? Now, the sub-theme that I want to speak to is our nation's pervasive and persistent ethnic suspicion and rancor. Okay? It is rather remarkable that after more than 60 years of nationhood, and by nationhood here, I mean flag independence, Nigerians, many, in fact, some we say most, still identify themselves primarily in terms of their ethnic nationality. So I'm Yoruba, somebody else is Igbo, another one is Hausa, and only secondarily as Nigerians. Now, that is very curious to me. Now, and also needless to say that this inability to forge a unified national identity has done incalculable harms to our body politics. It has constituted a major hindrance in the path of our economic development. It has all but stymied the evolution of our democracy. But, and this is the question again, why has it been so difficult to evolve a unified Nigerian identity, say like the Americans, or now the Rwandans? In Rwanda, you dare not say you are Tutsi or Hutu now, but the Nigerian still identifies himself or herself as a Hausa or Yoruba or Igbo or Efik or Bachama or whatever, 350 something ethnic groups and counting. Now, this is what I want to do. I will highlight 4 of the major factors working against the Nigerian unified identity. Okay, and I divide them like this: 2 agents of disunity and 2 of the instruments in their hands. The 2 agents of disunity that I want to briefly discuss are politicians and traditional rulers. Okay. Now, the 2 instruments of disunity at their disposal are extreme poverty and religion. Now, let us now examine briefly, because we don't have the time, how each of the 2 agents of disunity fan the flames of ethnic suspicion and strife. Okay. Question is this: if you think about it, who are the biggest beneficiaries of the settler-indigene divide in Nigeria? We are the owners of the land. You guys are the foreigners who came to settle in our midst. And my answer is 2 of the biggest beneficiaries are traditional rulers and politicians. Traditional rulers want to keep the divide so that they can keep their subjects. I mean, what is a traditional ruler without subjects? And it is the indigenes who constitute the subjects. Those are the ones they can keep their cultural thumbs on and harass with ancestral invocations and all that. And the politicians, on the other hand, they need the ancestral group, the in-group, the home base, one from which to launch their political careers. And secondly, and this is equally important, to a place to run to when they are facing trouble and persecution from outside. And the outside is no other place than the larger Nigerian society. I mean, you certainly heard of politicians running home and hiding in their country houses, and their people will form a human barricade to prevent them from being arrested and prosecuted. So these 2 agents, forget about their pretenses and sweet talks, fan the embers of ethnic division in Nigeria. How do they use poverty and religion? Well, now, poverty is very easy. Once you keep people sufficiently impoverished, you render them pliable, they become readily vulnerable to ethnic, call it social engineering, brain polishing. You can always finger the others who are responsible for their plight, and you are the messiah. And religion, well, religion should ordinarily not have been the problem, but it is in Nigeria. Because the 2 imported Oriental religions, namely Christianity and Islam, happen to exist co-extensively with the 2 divisions of our nation: Islam predominantly north, Christianity by and large predominantly in the South. And the agents of disunity have been using this to divide us. I mean, if you doubt me, just face the current unfortunate debates in Nigeria, Muslim ticket. Now, isn't it embarrassing that in this day and age, this is what we are talking about? Even people who don't go to church are now great advocates of Christendom, and they must fight and rise and fight like soldiers of Christ in defense of their faith. Now, these are the things that we confront. Now, let me now briefly say what I consider to be the way forward. By the way, caveat, I did not say only the traditional rulers and the politicians are responsible. I just, selected two of others that may also be contributing to our national ethnic disunity. Two, I didn't say either that poverty and religion are the only instrument at their disposal. I merely picked two because of our time. So what do we do? And now I want you to please join me in reflecting on this. Take each of the two agents of disunity that I have identified, traditional rulers, politicians. What do we do with our traditional rulers? I have a very straightforward answer. In that case, abolish the institution. Now, I've been saying this for quite a while now. And each time I say it, our people seem to converse. Abolish what a great professor of history here at OAU once looked at me and said, "Young man, you must be joking." Well, I was not joking. Africans did not invent the monarchy. We are not the only ones or the first set of human beings to abolish that institution. And I will tell you why we need to do it. Two reasons. One, the monarchy and republicanism don't go here. They are rival systems of government, and they cannot be synthesized to form any third arrangement. Where you have republicanism on the throne, the monarch will have to give way. Where you have monarchies on the throne, you cannot have a Republican agenda. Now, you might then say, suppose we have a referendum and Nigerians choose to go back to the old days of a monarchy. I will still say no. Why? Because more fundamentally, I think the idea of kings and subjects is contrary to human nature, the way I understand it. Think of it. Were there princes and princesses in the state of nature? Now ask yourself, how did this institution evolve? Okay? How come some people now become kings that others must worship at their feet? Well, I've suggested elsewhere in print that there are two things to look at: use of force, coercion, and deceit. Now, we can't go into it fully here now, but the long and short of this is that other societies have abolished these institutions, and they are the better for it. In our own case, the only thing that we suffer is our democratic experiment. As long as you keep the monarchs in their palaces, they will constitute a static to our democratic march. Have you heard of them saying, give us constitutional rule? I mean, and anytime I hear traditional rulers talking like that, I'm distressed. How can you be asking for a constitutional role as a monarch in a democracy? Democracy and monarchy are two rival systems of government. Where would they come in? Above the governors, beneath the governors, some House of Lords, and to be doing what? Anyway, we don't have time to go into the details of this, but I think that institution has to go because it is contrary to the spirit of republicanism, and we proclaim our nation to be the Federal Republic of Nigeria, as many other Africans do. You know, the Republic of South Africa, the ARUNSA. So if we are truly Republican, then there should be no room for traditional rulers. And in any case, they are only constituting an additional layer of drain on our resources. Now, what about politicians? Well, we can't abolish politicians in a representative democracy. So my suggestion is to manage them effectively. Build like the wall of fire in the Holy Book. Build strong walls, legal instruments to circumscribe the activities of politicians. For example, any politician who is found whipping up ethnic sentiments during and after electioneering campaigns, whether as government or opposition, should have to face sanctions because the law will be in place. Thou shalt not whip up ethnic sentiment and division to divide our people. And if you do so, some of the punishment may include instant disqualification from contesting, fine, long stretches of suspension from politicking, and so on and so forth. The idea is we want to get to a point where you get to a Nigerian, and who are you? He says, I'm a Nigerian. From what part of Nigeria? Well, from the Southwest, from the Northeast, from the South-South, from the Southeast. That's what we want to do. They are already there in Rwanda. Americans have been there for long. So we will not abolish politicians the way we abolish the traditional rulers. But of course, we have to manage them properly. The laws have to be laid for them to follow. And failure to do so, we attract appropriate sanctions. Let me now put a caveat. I don't have anything against any particular monarch. In particular, look, Queen Elizabeth, how can you not love that woman? This was a woman of uncommon grace, dignity, and elegance, who reigned, for 70 years over our nation and was almost blameless. My grouse is with the office, not with the occupants of the office. Look, I'm from Oyo town, and I will tell you that the late Alaafin did something exceedingly commendable. He spent his time on the throne, educating himself on our history and culture. So whatever else he may not have done right, I will give him kudos for that. So this is not against any particular traditional ruler or the other. It is that the institution does not sit well with the idea of democracy, and especially republicanism. And I will again say that it is only in a republic that a true democracy can thrive. Okay? If you see a place where they call themselves a Democrat and they are still keeping, like the UK, where you guys are residing now, they will get their full-fledged democracy the day they dispense with the monarchy. Now, I know that by and large, the English monarchy has become an appendage of the Ministry of Tourism and Hospitality. So there is some economic incentive to keep it. Millions of tourist dollars flow into that nation every year. People wanting to see Buckingham Palace, and they will have to eat by the roadside. Other than that, the real power is in Downing Street. That. Now, if we want to relegate our traditional rulers to that level where they become parastatals under the Ministry of, or agencies in the Ministry of Tourism and Hospitality, I'm fine with it. Now, finally, what do we do about poverty? We just say eradicate it. I can almost hear you say just like that. Well, just like that. Okay, maybe not just like that. You see, the devil is always in the details. We have to work at it. Poverty is stubborn, as you know. And as you, my young friends, will say, poverty burugan, poverty. we're in poverty. So we have to really work at it. Tame corruption, get better management of our national resources, human and material. This nation, Nigeria, is one of the most endowed by nature in every respect. We all acknowledge that. So what is wrong? Get the good managers to, who do the right things at the right time, and you can move millions of people out of poverty. Recent human history tells us that, eradicating poverty is no longer rocket science. China has just done it. Before China, Singapore. Before Singapore, United States. You ought to go and check the history of the United States, say from 1906 to 2006, 100 years, and you will marvel at the level of social improvement and upward mobility, just because they move people out of poverty. So we can do it. We have all the resources. The ingredients are there. We need the right cooks to put these things together for us. What about religion? These are the two instruments that I fingered are being used by the agents of disunity. Well, I will say, look, religion too can be managed. In a recent piece I just completed, I likened religion to the bull in the China shop. You have to pilot it or ride it carefully, or one will be in trouble. In a nation as ethnically and religiously combustible as Nigeria, the handling of religious matter requires extraordinary, if you like, Solomonic wisdom. We need to know how to deal with these phenomena, because people, there's this thing about religion that simply inflames passion. It is not just about your well-being here. It is the destination of one's soul hereafter. So we have to tell people, my recipe is this: get a legal system, constitutional, statutory, that we keep religious people each in their spiritual lanes. And the state will then come in to whip people into line who want to go into other people's lanes. So if you are a Christian, say with your Christian faith. If you are a Muslim, say in your Muslim faith. If you are a traditional worshiper, which incidentally are hardly ever recognized officially in Nigeria, even though there are millions of them, I said, leave people alone. Provided that is done, and the state will come in every now and then to enforce the laws, I think religion too can be managed. Now, so if we tame the activities of the agent of disunity, in one case by abolishing the institution outright, and we manage the other ones effectively, namely the politicians, and we are able to eradicate poverty substantially, and we somehow manage to learn how to ride the bull in the China shop that religion is. Ladies and gentlemen, in the next 10 years, Nigeria will become the El Dorado. Now, I don't know how much time I have left, but let me just say this.
Actually, sir, it's just a few seconds, sir.
Okay.
I've been trying to notify you, but
okay. So I just round off. Now, let me say this: the highlights of what I've given you are just that, highlights. And like I said, I have a piece in the works now. I will contact Mr. Olaolu Oyedola when the piece is out, for those who might be interested. Now, once again, I should thank you guys. May your type multiply and proliferate in our nation. May the other type of young people who give our country a bad name diminish in number. God bless you all. Happy, Americans will say happy 4th in allusion to 4th of July. Let me say to you, happy 1st. God bless our homeland, Nigeria. Thank you.
Amen. Thank you so much, sir. I'm giving you Wonderful round of applause here. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Oh, wow, that was a wonderful one. That was, though it was so, the time was too short, but I could see this how you summarized the whole thing, and it was a great one, sir. Thank you so much, Madam Olayinka. I don't know if you have a few things to say before I call our wonderful professor. Hello, Madam Olayinka. All right. Okay.
Thank you so much. I don't have anything to say. And to say thank you to Professor Ladosu. That was very profound point that you've mentioned. I've been making notes, and people on this platform have also been making notes of those important points that were highlighted during Professor's session. You mentioned 2 agents of unity. And he mentioned about the politicians and the traditionalists, and he explained that he highlighted that to us as well, giving his point. So thank you so much, Professor, for your time.
Thank you. You are welcome.
All right, Mama, let me recognize the presence of Professor Adebola Babatunde Ekanla, the former VC of University of Ibadan, and also Professor Adebayo Simon Bamire, the former VC, the current VC of OAU. My wonderful professors, they're all here amidst us. Well done, sirs. All right. Okay. Without wasting much of the time, I'm going to call the second speaker, my wonderful professor, Professor Adebola Babatunde Ekanla, the former VC of University of Ibadan. Yes, sir. Well done, sir.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yes, I believe you can hear me.
I'm fine, sir. We can hear you loud and clear, sir. Happy Independence Day, sir.
Well, I'm not very sure about that. I'm not very sure we should say that to ourselves. Happy Independence Day. I'm not very sure.
Yes, sir. I don't know. It's actually amazed me because my professor, associate professor that just spoke, I'm in respect of Associate Professor Jariola Dusu. He was saying the same thing. I don't know if professors are saying like this. What should we students do?
Well, for me, at times like this, we need to tell ourselves the truth.
Wow.
And perhaps if we acknowledge our realities,
wow.
we will somehow be able to whip up the wheel to review our situations and take appropriate steps to do things right. But first, let me greet you and all organizers of this event. And I initially checked, okay, I think we have about 11 people on the program right now. And as I thank the organizers, I'm very sure that to facilitate significant change in society, you really don't need a lot of people. You probably need the right people with the right mindset. People are ready to work together, make the sacrifices required to facilitate the desired change. So I'm not really worried that we are not too many on this platform right now. Largely because I also appreciate that sometimes great things start in very small and simple ways. Having said that, I would first of all want to especially acknowledge Dr. Jariola Doshi, who happened to be my lecturer at the 4th degree level. He taught me back then at IFE. And I will say that there are so many common grounds between the two of us in terms of our perspective on the Nigerian subject. I'm also delighted to know that my vice chancellor is also with us. Of course, I'm an alumnus of the great Obafemi Awolowo University. So it's delight to have him here also. I think many of the things I would have wanted to say, Dr. Ladosu has highlighted them. So I probably wouldn't repeat them. I will just move up to some of the key things that I will want to add to what he I know that when Olaoluwa spoke to me, he raised two important issues.
Hello, sir.
Hello,
Hello, my professor, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah, I think there's a noise background there's a noise from the background, sir. I don't know if
it's
it's.
not for me. I can hear you too. It's not for me.
Okay.
Please, Sister Olayinka, mute everybody and let's please.
Yes, sir. We can hear you loud and clear now, sir. Please add the session.
I think if you can mute everybody to it will.
Everyone is on mute now. Yes, sir, please. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. I think this is much better now. Yeah, I was saying that two important issues were pointed out, and I suppose we want to see if we can see a link, a trajectory between the two. First is our independence, the role that the Queen played in facilitating our independence through the British Parliament way back in 1960. And of course, the celebration of the independence today, 62 years after. As far as I'm concerned, it's important that we learn from the past, but we shouldn't dwell on the past. And for that reason, I probably wouldn't want to spend so much time on what the Queen did, the role played by the British Parliament, how Nigeria is a conglomeration of strange bedfellows. I suspect many of us are familiar with the history of our dear country. And I'm also sure that many of us are very much familiar with where we are now. And as far as I'm concerned, if you look at the past, it should be to understand the peculiarities of the present situation so that we will be in a position to make viable projections for a better future. And that is what I think I want us to focus on. Of course, my teacher has done a fantastic job highlighting what might be described as the major problems militating against our development as a nation. He identified ethnicity and also religion. And I would want to say that ethnicity and religion are in themselves not a problem. But the problem is that they have been unduly politicized. And who are the people politicizing ethnicity and religion? Our political elites. And they do this for their own personal gain to ensure that they use the mechanism of religion and ethnic affiliations to achieve their own political goals. Now, if these political goals were to be consistent with the progress of the nation, probably one wouldn't have had any problem. But we also see a high level of individualism with them. They're more interested in their personal well-being. They're more interested in accumulation of wealth for themselves and their families and their cronies. They're more interested in perpetuating themselves in position. And that's something that we need to be very clear about. And I think moving forward now, we will be having everything being equal, another general elections in 2023. I want to believe that if Nigerians would have certain things in the right perspective, perhaps we'll be able to make a better choice this time around. But of course, one reality that is on ground is that the problem is not just with our leaders, not just with our political elites. The problem is also with you and also with me. The truth of the matter is this: an average Nigerian would first of all define himself in terms of his ethnic affiliation before he sees himself as a Nigerian. Yes, when it's convenient, we pay lip service to our national identity as Nigerians. Now, I've been there a couple of times. I would travel abroad, see fellow Nigerians. We will get along very nicely. If the person were to be maybe of the Igbo extraction, the moment he sees another person from that ethnic group and they say Kedu Oduma to themselves, they sideline me. And on my own part, oftentimes, by the time I see a Nigerian abroad and he says, Bawo ni omo ya kaaro, and I realize that he is Yoruba, there's a tendency for me to be to be more drawn to him than to my Igbo brother. And that says that we do not have a nation state yet. And I remember that Dr. Lazuchi mentioned that fact, that the US, for instance, has been able to fashion out a national identity, a sense of commitment to the country beyond all the ethnic affiliations. We have not been able to do that. Many thanks to our nationalistic leaders at that time, and that has been perpetuated by our political leaders up till today. Now I want to shift a little bit, that a lot depends on our youth. But even at that level, I must say the truth, very, well, I don't want to say I'm pessimistic, but a lot of work will need to be done. There are so many things we need to unlearn. There are so many things that we need to learn if we are serious about having a unified country called Nigeria. Of course, the issue of the Constitutional Conference is there, which should address basic issues, beginning with even the continued existence of Nigeria. We need to ask ourselves, do we want Nigeria to continue to exist as a nation, or do we want to divorce? And it happened before in the world anyway. And when we are to be honest with ourselves, of course, right now, from the southeastern part of the country, the Biafrans are agitating. Even in the southwest right now, there are some agitations going on for the Oduduwa nation. Okay? But the truth of the matter is that these issues are coming up because certain groups feel sidelined in the mainstream of events. So we need to come back to the table and agree on the terms of our continued existence as a nation. And if you want to say that, okay, we should go in different directions, then so be it. There's nothing sacrosanct, as far as I'm concerned, about the continued existence of Nigeria. I'm not saying that necessarily we must break up, but if that's the way to address many of our problems, then perhaps we should go that way. Otherwise, we need to redefine the structure of the country and have a true federalism, which we do not have now. And very quickly, I also want to touch on something that is very, very problematic, which is the problem of corruption. Of course, to a large extent, corruption rides on ethnicity, rides on the wheel, or do I say the legs of religion also. But that is one menace that we need to address frontally as a country. But then, we say these days that a lot depends on our youths. But my fear is that as the youths, not even worse than the people, the leaders we are complaining about. Because when we see what some of our people do when they are given some opportunities, we wonder the level of havoc they will wreak when they have bigger opportunities. Basically, what I'm saying is this. One of our major problems is that we don't seem to have the will yet. I'm not sure we have evolved the will, the interest in holistically and wholeheartedly pursuing the development of Nigeria. We pay a lot of lip service to it when it is convenient. But I'm not very sure that the level of the leadership and also at the level of the citizenship that we are ready, we are willing, we are determined to make this happen. And I also want to say this, which I think is a hard truth we all need to face. The leadership of any entity, the leadership of any country, in the final analysis is a reflection of the nature of the majority of the people in that country. So if we say that our leaders are corrupt, our leaders do not have the genuine interest of our country at heart, our leaders are not committed to the development of our country and the well-being of an average person in Nigeria, perhaps they are merely reflecting who we are. And for me, in as much as we talk about having good leaders, we should also talk about having good citizens. Perhaps if we begin to work at the idea of good citizenship, we will begin to see the emergence of good leaders. But of course, I love it when it was mentioned that a lot of transformation took place in China. In 2019, I think about November, I was in China. I had a conversation with a young man there. It must be about 35 then. He told me that before his eyes, he saw the transformation of China. He saw people being lifted up from poverty to an appreciable level of comfort. And if it could have happened in China in the last 30 years or so, it can happen in Nigeria also, if we are serious about it. And I want to say, it's not just about leaders, it's also about us. And we should also appreciate that our leaders will always get away with as much as we allow them to get away with. We are the ones who empower them. We are the ones who put them in position. We are the ones who help them to remain in office. When they get into office and they suddenly begin to display a level of affluence they didn't have before, we don't ask them questions. We don't query them. Rather, we celebrate them. We give them chieftaincy titles. We pour encomiums on them. We go to them with all kinds of demands. I need to pay my children's school fees. My father died, I need to bury him. We mount pressure on them also. And then for some of them that want to do well, but because they want to respond to all the demands they place on them by the citizenship, by their people, they begin to compromise and they begin to dig their hands into the public purse to satisfy their people. So until we begin to look at these issues, we might not make much progress as a nation. And I want to say that yes, like Professor Dr. Ladoche said, we need to ensure that the political class is effectively moderated. Where he said that we should manage them, I would say that the activities need to be effectively moderated. And for me, the traditional institution is not really our problem. It's not as powerful as it used to be. They are more or less like figureheads. That's the truth of the matter. But the political class, that's where we need to focus attention on. And if we're able to do that, and also ensure that we begin to work on ourselves also as citizens of this country, then perhaps we begin to see the kind of transformation that we desire. And on the final note, I want to say that it probably doesn't take so long to bring about the kind of transformation we're talking about. We just need to take certain radical and decisive steps. And if we take the bull by the horn and we address these issues frontally, I believe that we can have a much better Nigeria. I think I'm going to stop there. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. That was that was a wonderful one. I will thank you, sir. I want to appreciate you, Professor Adebola Babatunde Kola. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you, sir. All right, Madam Olayinka, I don't know if you have a few things to say before we go on a tea break for just 5 minutes.
There is so much to say from Professor's session. Thank you so much. Just like we've had during our session with Professor Ladusu. Thank you so much for your time. I've just been making notes of some of the key points that you mentioned, and you really do mention, you did depth into a lot. And after today session, we will not, none of us is here living the same. We're working on ourselves, looking at ourselves as you've asked us to examine and want to see the radical change that the country, that the nations do desire, that we do need, the transformation that we do need. And as you've rightly said, sir, that religion is not the problem, but it has been unduly. So you're looking into this, and you're also looking in depth into it. And you mentioned also that as a coming election, with the coming election is an opportunity for the youth, for the citizens of the continent to make a better choice for the nation. So with this coming election, that we can make a better choice. And you emphasize on the problem as well, that the problem is not with the leaders, but also a lot has to do. So it's time for the youth to stand up and speak up. It's time for the youth to understand that they have, that we as a youth, we have the power to stand. We have the power in our hands, and we have the choice, and we need to choose rightly with the coming election. So thank you, sir. And also, and I believe I got it from what you said as well, that there should be a universal language, and you use USA as an example, whereby in the USA there is a commitment to the country. So first of all, that's the language that they understand. So whether you are Muslim, you're a Christian, if you're a traditionalist, there is a universal language, which is whatever choice, whatever goal, whatever end goal, your vision is, first of all, be committed to the country. And once you're committed to the country, every decisions that you make, you want to make that country better. So I got that from your session. There is still a lot more. And you mentioned that if we want an Nigerian to continue, or do we want, you access diverse? And if we do want a one Nigeria, we need to come back together. We need to sit on the table and reconcile, have a reconciliation plan about Nigeria. So that's very profound, sir. And you also mentioned that we need to redefine the structure of the country. We need to redefine the structure of the country. And you give us few points on define the structure. So thank you so much. I'm not going to take much of our time. It's been very profound, sir. Thank you so much for that. So we're going to go on our break now for 5 minutes, and then we'll be back at 3 o'clock on the dot. So if you want to grab something hot to drink, if you're in the UK, please do. If you're back in Africa, Nigeria, I want to grab something to drink, something warm as well. Stretch your legs, try to stretch your legs. It's because we've been sitting down for a while. So I'm going to do that as well here. So thank you so much, Mr. Mayo.
All right, thank you so much. We converge later around 3 p.m. while we continue the section. All right, thank you so much. All right. Thank you so much. I think we are back now. Madam Malainka, yeah, we're back. I just grabbed uh, some coffee, you know, and all right. Thank you. Okay, so without wasting much of our time now, we are continuing this section. You know, when I addressed us when we started, I told us that we're not going to waste time. We're going to stick strictly to the time. I've been told to stick to the time. All right. Okay, let me confirm ambassador's availability. The Nigerian High Commissioner to the UK, Ambassador Rafa Tunji Shola. I don't know if he's available. Also, let me confirm Professor Professor Edward Olanipekun. I don't know if he's available. That's the VC of Ekiti State University. All right. And you want to confirm the availability of Professor Adebayo Simon Bamire, that's the Vice Chancellor of OHU Obafemi Awolowo University, Ile-Ife. All right. Okay. Without wasting much of the time, I'm going to have Professor Adebayo Simon Bamire's section now. But before I do that, I'll call on Mr. Andrew Oyedola. Why don't you to just say a few things about him before he come on board?
Well done, sir. I appreciate it. You've been so wonderful.
Good afternoon.
So please continue.
Okay.
All right. I just want you to, give us more insight about the VC of OAU, Obafemi Awolowo, Professor Adebayo Simon Bamire. I want you to call him out. I want to do that courtesy to bring him on board, sir. Thank you so much. Because I know.
Good afternoon, everyone.
I know you know.
Sister Olayinka will do that. Please, let's introduce you.
Okay. Sister Olayinka, please do.
Hello.
Over to you.
Hello, sir.
Looks like this.
Hello, sir. We can hear you, Mr. Bamire. Can you hear us, sir?
Loud and clear, sir.
I can hear you.
Okay, sir. We just want to introduce you to our audience so they will get to know who you are. Mr. Bamire Adebayo Simon is a native of Onyo in Odo-Otin, local government of Osun State.
Odo-Otin, yeah.
Odo-Otin. I'm sorry. Okay. So he started his elementary education in Datus Preparatory School in Accra, Ghana.
Looks like this thing is not coming up as expected.
We can hear you loud and clear, sir.
Yeah, loud and clear, sir.
Yeah, I'm hearing you now.
Okay.
Okay. Oh, okay, brilliant. So he attended nursery and primary school in Oshogbo. He then had his secondary school education in St. Charles Grammar School, Oshogbo as well, Nigeria, in the 1972 to 1973. He was admitted to the then University of Ife, now Obafemi Awolowo University, Ile-Ife, to read Agricultural Economics Faculty of Agriculture, where he completed his first, second, and third degrees. So he has a Bachelor of Agriculture in 1985. He has his 1992 and his PhD in 1999. His PhD program was sponsored by the Council for the Development of Social Science in Africa, CODISERA, and the International Institute of Tropical Agriculture, WITA. His PhD thesis won him an award, University Postgraduate Thesis Award in year 2021. So please permit me to welcome in Professor Bamire, who has proven to be consistent, disciplined, resourceful, reliable, and with good team spirit. He has a good insight and experience of best business practices that contribute to system development, having served in various capacity in different commitments and assisted tremendously in promoting academic and research in his department, faculty, and the university as a whole. Professor Bamire is computer literate with a good knowledge of the application of statistical and econometric tools. So you're welcome, sir, Professor Bamire. We're so glad to have you on the platform. today. So a round of applause, please. Let us welcome him. A warm welcome.
Yeah, thank you very, very much for those encomiums. Well, it looks like it's even taking up some good time out of the time you've given me, but I think you still give me that opportunity to say one or two things. Yeah, let me appreciate the invitation extended to me and actually thank the organizers of this particular symposium for coming up with this to coincide with a day like this, a day that we're celebrating the independence of our country, of the Great Britain. But after all, we still have to appreciate them for giving us that opportunity to go away from them, even though it appears as if they are still holding us with one hand, or maybe we are the ones trying to be reluctant in leaving totally. Well, before I go on, I think it's needful for me to appreciate all of you and to thank you. Professor Oladoshu, thank you very much. He will have been the one that even the university will have sent in a forum like this. And he has actually demonstrated the thoughts that we all have, you know, with respect to what is going on within the country, even after independence. And I also want to appreciate Professor Ekanola. Thank you very much for being there at all times. You've been doing wonderfully well everywhere, and we really appreciate you. Mr. Femi Makinde, thank you very much. You know, we just spoke some few minutes ago. I was in a meeting, and they had to remind me of this Zoom meeting. And I said, what is the Zoom meeting about? And I'm very happy that at least I was able to get a glimpse of it with his explanation. And I think I will just run through what I can say within a short time on the situation in which we are and how we can move forward with specifics to higher education, university system. Now, the Independence Day, we have the title as the Independence Day Celebrations, Queen Elizabeth II, and Nigerian independence, then the lessons for the present Nigerian democracy, and the hope for 2023. Well, I will just take them one by one. The Independence Day. Well, 1st October 1960 is what we are trying to celebrate and marking up. And from previous speakers, I could really perceive that, do we really say we are really happy? Because the time we were given, we were able to get the independence, we're all happy. You know, everybody was really happy and celebrating that, yes, we are off the hooks and coming out of bondage. Well, 62 years ago now, what can we say about ourselves? The independence is actually supposed to promote nationalism, patriotism, and towards development of the nation. But then, what do we have now? Why we remember those who actually fought for this independence and we really appreciate their sacrifices. I wouldn't think most of them that are not around now will be happy at what is happening now, because their expectation to a large extent has not been met. The issue of patriotism, the issue of nationalism. We have heard from Professor Oladoshu, we have heard from Professor Ekanola, we have heard the bitterness that has been expressed with respect to our ways of doing things now. And actually we begin to wonder how did we get to this point? How did we get to this point? Well, there are so many things. Queen Elizabeth, the linkage between Queen Elizabeth and the independence has to do with the fact that because it was during a time that this thing was done, she gave independence to Nigeria. And that's why most people consider her as the Queen of Nigeria. Oh, she visited the nation, I think, in 1956 or thereabout. And then in 2003, I can remember vividly that period. And you see that this Queen, His Majesty, had interest in education, you know, supporting education in various fora to the extent of throwing in this Commonwealth scholarship for students. And even staff did enjoy all this. And it's very, very important that it is education that actually strengthened us and gave us the confidence and courage to be able to go ahead to seek for this independence. And we had that independence through education. Now, what is the situation now with this education that we're talking about? And that is why, for me, the central point here has to do with human capacity building. Human resource component is key. Leadership is the forefront of any nation building. Is the forefront of any consideration you want to give to nation building. And so having a visionary leader and a transformative leader that is innovative in all ways to ensuring that it uses its human capacity resources to build up the nation. That is the main thing that we need. And until we have that, it may be very difficult for us to move forward. For now, you see that those in the educational institutions that are supposed to be the think tanks have actually been tinkered with to the point of being depressed towards going forward. But we're always in prayers at all times to ensure that, you know, these sets of people are brought back to change their mentality to really coming back to being patriotic and forget about what problems have been generated over time as a result of leadership issues. But how do we move forward? Moving forward is, to me, not too difficult. We are always hopeful. We know that we have the resources. What are the resources we want to talk of in Nigeria that we do not have? We have all the necessary resources. Is it human? Is it material resources? Is it even the financial resources coming out of those material resources we're talking about? They are all there for us. But then we have to restructure and reposition ourselves. Credence should be given to the educational sector in all ways. If you look through the settings as we have now, public primary education had been the source of many people, you know, being uplifted off the poverty line over time. But you now see what is happening to this public primary sector. There's nothing you can write home, nothing to write home about them. Everything is about privatize this, privatize. It's good to privatize. But you know, there are some sets of people within the citizenry that are actually deprived of necessary facilities to be able to move ahead, you know, to be able to really finance themselves. So it's very needful for us to now begin to work out strategies. Or now, the public sector can support the universities to an extent, and the universities and all schools, all institutions therein, try as much as possible to find ways of adding up, you know, in all ways. So I want us to say that deception appears to be part of the game. And we should we should be patriotic enough to look after the system and take deception and selfish ways of doing things out of it. I believe by the time the leaders in the various sectors address issues objectively, most of the problems that we have will be solved. Productivity is very, very important as a component of this, because it actually reduces anything that you may be talking about corruption, talking about various vices within the nation. But once we leave out ourselves, to doing things that are productive, rather than just relying on raw things. What I mean in this sense is like cutting across the entire value chain of any production system, will help a lot, rather than relying on raw production. Look at our crude oil. Look at our agricultural production produces all over. We do not really go ahead to ensure that we move towards processing them to the point of exporting them in large numbers to generate funds for us. This in itself will reduce poverty if we're able to do that by increasing the income level, and those people that are really doing this work will be very happy at it. You see, for now, the morale of most people are down, and there's need to raise this. But again, it is important for us to note that we are all in the game together. We cannot leave Nigeria, and we should play our own parts. Government at any point in time does whatever it feels it should do. That is why I like a symposium of this nature and other associations and groups that are coming together in order to really point those areas of concern to government so that they will be able to look at it and be able to change the framework in order to foster productivity. Well, you have ASU strike for now. You will have wondered. Sorry, please. Hello? Hello? We have asked.
Sir, I've unmuted everyone. Please unmute yourself again, sir.
Sorry. Hello?
I can hear you, sir.
Hello? Are you hearing me? Okay,
we can hear you.
We have ASU strike now. And you will see that the number of times our students stay off campus, it is that the multiplicity of it is the buildup of different vices within the various settings. And it doesn't help the nation. So what do we do? What does ASU need? ASU is talking about, if you talk about our universities, especially the first generation universities, it will be needful for you to just come around. I know Femi Makinde, FAMAC, you are conversant with OAU, a university that had been on for over 60 years. You wouldn't have expected that the facilities that we have there, the structures that we have since those days will still remain the same. They need a lot of improvements. There are lots of dilapidation all over there. The pipelines that had been built long time ago are all deteriorated. Electricity is not coming up the right way. We actually want to, we always appreciate our forefathers for their thoughtfulness in bringing all these things up. But then, even maintaining these things are very, very difficult because the funds are not there. And that is why, strategically, I think we should try as much as possible to build up this resource base, enhance the human resource capacity to ensure that most things in the university and in the nation as a whole, are addressed as at when due. The universities are actually supposed to be the bedrock of thoughts for nation building. But those people that are really working within the university setting needs encouragement. They need to have all that is needed for them to be able to do what they are doing. And that is why for you that are in the UK there, we are imploring you. I wouldn't say maybe you are one of those people that are not allowing us to go off fully. But I think while there are so many things that we can do together. Exchanges in various ways. Staff, student exchanges, collaborations in various ways in building up our laboratories, building up research networks that will really enhance the setting in the nation. So our being outside there should be a plus for us and not be a minus. There's also this component. We should be very, very much hopeful that things are going to go well. 2023 for me is a year that I feel all problems will be fixed by God's grace. And I believe Nigeria is going to come back in all sectors. How it's going to come, I don't know. But I know within individual settings, within our own setting here, we'll try all that is possible to ensure that we move the system forward. And I believe if everybody within his own sector, within his own unit, tries as much as possible to make this a watchword, then we shall all move together and change the system altogether for good. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. We want to appreciate you. Thank you, sir, Professor Adebayo Simon Bamire. Thank you, sir. That was a wonderful one from you. And I'm sure questions will ask, because we just want you to just relax a little bit. We're going to ask questions. Okay. For me, personally, I have questions that I want to ask you, sir, because you just mentioned a few things that that kind of I need light.
Clarification.
Yeah, I need clarification. So, all right. I don't know if other people watching or hearing this also ask questions before I go to that segment. So, Olayinka, I'm sure you might have been blessed with what you just heard from our wonderful daddy here. Hello, Olayinka. Okay. I think she will join us soon.
MC
Okay.
Mayor, I'm here.
Okay.
I just kept Professor on the spotlight. I left him on the spotlight. Thank you so much, sir, Professor Bamire. It's been another profound presentation from you. I believe everyone, as myself, have been really blessed by your presentation and from all the points that you've highlighted this afternoon here. As you've said, you mentioned on the primary education, and I think that's very profound. Actually, I saw myself recently, saw some youths being told to recite the state of capital. Just that, as an example, of what you've just mentioned. I watched a video. I've been out of Nigeria now for over 12 years, but this is something that I do know of, and I would really say thank you to my parents, because I've had the opportunity to go to a private school, and the majority of the youth in Nigeria, or the younger ones in Nigeria, they don't have access to this. When Professor Oladosi mentioned earlier, he talked about poverty being one of the challenges. So I really do like the point that you mentioned. There should be a public primary education, not just within the primary level, but at every level of education in Nigeria. I also mentioned about ASU strike. We should be patriotic, like you mentioned, and to take care of the system. It is a collective responsibility. Professor Bamire emphasized on that for Nigerian to change, redesign the structure of Nigeria, it is a collective responsibility from each and every one of us, starting from the youth. And then, both professors just they see fit. That's why the youth need to stand up to improve, to adapt also. And strategically, we need to enhance on the human capacity, so the situation of Nigeria can actually change. And Professor also implore every one of us to collaborate in building up research, especially the people like myself that are in the United Kingdom. And I believe that's why the president has set up a symposium as this, so that we can come together to share ideas, to brainstorm on strategies on how we can improve system back home, because I still believe it's all bothered down to education as well. So thank you so much, sir, for all the value points that you've mentioned. So over to you, MC Mayor.
All right, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Okay, before I ask the question, sir, or I ask people that have questions that I want to ask, I want to confirm if other speakers are available. Professor Edward Olanipekun, the VC of EXU Ado-Ekiti, Ekiti State University, Ado-Ekiti. Also, Professor Olufemi Victor Adeoluwa. I don't know if it's available too. That's the VC of Bamidele Olumilua University of Education, Science and Technology. Also, I don't know if the ambassador to the UK is the ambassador, the Nigerian High Commissioner to the UK, Ambassador Sarafa Tunji Shola. I don't know if it's available. Well, if they're available, they should. I should be known so that I can recognize them. All right. So, my wonderful professor, sir. Okay, all right, Mr. Andrew Oyedola, over to you, sir. I can see you raising up your hand. I have questions, but I want you to ask yours first. All right, sir, over to you.
Thank you, MC Mayor. Can you hear me clearly?
We can hear you loud and clear, please.
Oh, thank you. And I want to appreciate our daddy, Professor Bamire, for the wonderful presentation. Just like they said, great minds think alike. When we had a talk with Peter Obi last week, he came to Cambridge. This is exactly one of his major points. And I think the thing that underlines is going around to talk to Nigerians in the diaspora. He made mention of building a commonwealth rather than individual wealth, because one of the things we notice about us is which Nigeria has built into us is to focus on ourselves alone. Since the mother cannot take care of the child seems to then focus on how he or she can survive. Now that individualism has become part of us and becomes difficult to detach. And we can see, one, we want to apologize for the short notice, and I appreciate every vice principal being introduced, and even the ambassador to the Nigerian High Commission to the UK. Immediately they got all the letters, they all answered, even despite the short notice. So I want to appreciate them for this wonderful opportunity and for this wonderful honor given unto us. But going to what he's trying to say, I think the question I would like to ask, because as we can see, that kind of individualism has built in us that apathy, not to even care about anything that has to do with. And we can see, as much as we try to mobilize the youths to come onto this program, we can see that effect here right now. As Professor Kolat stated, that it's only for but we don't want to restrict it to those who are ready to walk alone. We want to carry along those who the apathy has been built into them. So, sir, how do you think we can encourage Nigerian youth to become that tendency of working together and then having to reduce the apathy of individualism in us, now focusing on the common wealth that, as Peter Obias and you as well pointed out, for us to focus on and try to move forward?
Yeah, thank you very much. And just like you said, And just like I have in my own thoughts, it's always nice to move with pockets of people. We have different fora where this can be done. We have different groups, and that's why, you know, any youth group is very, very important to us. And we should not leave them to doing things alone. We should try as much as possible to now bring up people that have this set of thoughts of building up the youth. And I actually want to give credence to a lot of them. We could recognize them in their various areas, including our Oba here, the Oni of Ife, in terms of youth empowerment. But you see, far from saying that we want to support the youth in doing this and doing that, there is need for a change in the mental orientation, the mindset of people, the mindset of the youth. Most of them have seen a lot of things or gone through some processes that gets them embittered, and hence makes it very difficult for them to fall in line with anything that has to do with system building. So the first thing I think we can do is to bring them together. It's like for us, when we make mistakes, we quickly agree to the mistakes and attend to those mistakes and try to see how we bring up people to saying that, okay, we don't want to make this type of mistakes again. How do we move ahead? How do we strategize in order to ensure that this does not come up again? And so there's need to first change the mindsets of our youth in their various areas. They've seen, they've heard, they are still seeing. Well, let's just give an example, just a short example, but I won't want to go far on it. The spate of corruption, the spate of insecurity, poverty in the nation. When they begin to hear stories about what had happened before and what they are now experiencing over time, then, you know, they begin to wonder, is this the same Nigeria? So what I would just say is, let us try to continue. We will not be tired. Wherever fora in which we are, we should try as much as possible to incorporate the component of mindset changing. Let them know that there is a tomorrow which is better than today, and that there is room for improvement in all areas. And they should have a positive mind. You know, at times when we are talking about this, I begin to wonder to what extent some of our sectors can do to really bring in educative and creative components, particularly the media. You know, the social platforms in which we relate now have brought in a lot of things, but you begin to look at it. Looks like most people delve into the negative component rather than the positive ones. So how do we change their mindset to ensure that they always talk about positive things, creative things? They see people will begin to look at discoveries within the nation, not watching films that will not really add to, will not add value to what we are. There are actually so many areas to face, and that's why I said for each sector of the system, there's need to really ensure that we change the mindset, and this sector does what it's supposed to do in terms of directing their affairs towards nation building and not destroying the nation. You know, there are some things we do that we feel we are helping people. We are giving them the opportunity to relax. But in the real sense of it, we are not helping them. People, those that are old enough to accommodate such will easily do that without problem. For the younger ones that are coming behind, we just look at it as maybe part of life. You see films that are being shown respect to gunshots. when the matured ones can accommodate this and know where to go, but the younger ones will feel this is part of it. This is how they have to live their life. So why not show them creative things at all times? In fact, if we ensure that most of what is seen by the younger ones are positive things that can make them change their thoughts, it will help a lot. And the media are very, very important. The way we relate to them, very, very important. That is why in our own setting, we have those that are now coming out with research thoughts in a creative way, cultivating students and even outsiders in order to ensure that we develop things that will help us, even within the system, to grow. So I think the main thing is just for us to see our best in any way where we are, those that have that drive to be able to change the mindset of those who are not in that line, so that at all times we do not blame the government. The government at times may be handicapped. They are handicapped, Professor Oladoshu, and I think Professor Ekanla made mention of this. The political terrain is not really allowing much growth as expected because of the selfish component that are there. And that's not how it's supposed to be in the real sense of it, because the system mind is what is supposed to be in there. But at the same time, I think the issue of decentralization of thoughts, will help a lot. And when we build up those blocks that have been decentralized, then all those people within the unit, if they are able to capture it, then we'll grow, and individually and collectively we'll be able to make it as a nation. So, well, to me, just let us, in our own little way, try as much as possible, just like this forum. This forum, if it were to be that we have students, we have the youth, again, not students alone this time around. And that is why those people that are not really part of the game should be brought in. All those that are sorry, I'm just extending my distance. When we pass information through radio, through television and all those, who are those people that listen to it? Who are the sets of people that listen to it? Are these the set of people that are in the marketplace? Or no? So I think there are small things that could be done to help us so that we'll all be together at all times. The understanding will spread, and then we'll be able to move together. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Bamire. You have done excellent.
So,
the Lord bless you. I have one question for you and one question for Professor Ladosu. The first question goes to Professor Ladosu. When you were speaking, you made mention of the office of the citizenship, which has been undermined, underplayed, and that has not really been well played in this political dispensation. It's like whatever thing the leader tells us, and that's what we believe. So the question to Professor Ladosu is this: how do we empower the office of the citizenship when citizens should be able to subject their leader to scrutiny and demand what they are supposed to do for them? So that is to Professor Ladosu. Then to my wonderful Professor Bamire, I want to, you made mention of the army much. Of recent, we heard that the VCs met with, is it Minister of Education or one of the government agents? So what were the things you discussed that did not solve the problem. And about ending this ASU strike. Then to Professor Adebola Babatunde Ekanla, please, the three of you have mentioned corruption in your speech, and we discover that one of your colleagues was also caught in the web of that menace in the last political in the return. You remember the story I'm saying? One professor, one VC, who was a returning officer, was caught in the web of political corruption, and he was indicted. So when we have a society that is regarded as intellectual capability, still some of you are being caught in the web of corruption. How do we now say we are going to heal totally corruption in this nation? That third question is for any one of you, sir.
All right, Professor Oladusu, you can answer the first question, sir, before I go to Professor Simon Bamire. All right, sir, over to you. Professor Oladusu, you've not
Professor
muted,
Oladusu, please unmute yourself,
please
sir.
Unmute yourself.
Not myself to begin with, anyone I have done it. And I was just saying, draw an analogy with setting up a business venture. If you invest your hard-earned money in a business and you employ a manager, okay, to look after it at some agreed remuneration, you are not likely to go and sleep and hope that all will be well. Now, the life of a nation and the management of a nation's affairs can be likened to that. In this case, we invest more than just money. The entire future, present, even aspect of the past of our nation is invested in the hands of these politicians to manage for us, to hold in trust for us. How can we then just go and vote and then go home, hoping that all will be well? I think that is delusional. Eternal vigilance is the price we have to pay to defend our democracy and liberty. And the reward of eternal vigilance is the robust evolution of our democracy and healthy economic development. That is why the citizen cannot just go and vote every year and then go home. Politicians have shown everywhere. In 1993, I saw Professor Habermas, the great German philosopher, somewhere in Europe. And I raised a certain question, and the old man just looked at me and said, "Young man, why are you saying this about politicians? They have always behaved that way, everywhere and anywhere." So Nigerian politicians are not the exception in that regard. Give them an inch, they will take a yard. And that is why the citizen, through their NGOs, through their constituency groups, whatever, must keep a constant eagle eye on what their representatives are doing. Look at it this way. It is our collective responsibility to manage the affairs of our nation, but 200 million Nigerians cannot be meeting to take decisions. And this is where the idea of representative democracy comes in. Some people have to be entrusted with the day-to-day administration of the affairs of our nation. But the rest of us stakeholders should keep an eye on them. And this is where, as former President Barack Obama would say, the office of the citizen is permanent and probably more enduring than any other office, including that of the president. The presidents will come and go. The citizen is going to be there. And he had better be there in his own interest. That would be my response to that one.
All right. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. All right. Yes, sir. Professor.
Yeah.
Professor Adebayo.
Thank you very much. Maybe if I would just contribute to that. The citizenry, to me, are also expected to understand what is happening. They should come together. They should understand the happenings of the day. You know, when people say the youth are coming together, I begin to wonder, who are the sets of youth we are talking about? Are we talking about the youth in the various parties that had already committed themselves to different parties? Or those that are not part of those parties and just coming as a group together? So when we say we have 60 million or something percentage of youth, then you begin to look at who are these sets of youth we are talking about. Are we counting those that are in various groups already, or those that have not aligned to any group and are trying to build up a group? So these sets of people, the citizenry themselves, to realize the situation and come together. And the only way we can do this is to let them change their thoughts, because they have bitter thoughts underlying all these things. Let them change their thoughts. Let them see the tomorrow, the good tomorrow, and work towards it together with every other person that has that thinking thought. Now, for the meeting that we had, the meeting was actually called to see to the extent to which BCs and pro-chancellors can come together to resolve the crisis, the issue of the strike, ASU strike. And it dwelt on some key items that the VCs also felt are very, very important. You know, while I was talking then, I was talking about a first generation university like us with structures that are already dilapidated. So if you now have some people that are fighting for that cause, to what extent do you want to say it shouldn't go by? So we're like saying, okay, this issue of revitalization, it's okay. It's not as if it's too bad a thing, but to what extent can government support this cause? And you know, to government also said, yes, it's ready to lay down some certain amount. But if you now look at the amount vis-a-vis the number of public institutions that we have, public universities that we have, polytechnics and state universities, then you begin to wonder how much of such we'll get to each. And we are still counting, and we'll continue to count anyway. So these are some of the issues. The other one has to do with the payment of the salary during the strike. Well, at times, I think we need the understanding of any system before we begin to say anything about that system. There's need for people to really understand what a university stands for. There are different things that are done within the university setting. It's like saying, okay, who is now to be paid and not to be paid within the university setting? Is it the vice chancellor? Who, whether there's strike or no strike, is always there? Are we talking about the deans of provosts or HODs who are supposed to manage their areas of jurisdiction at any point in time? Are we talking of those people that are doing research and still meeting with their students one way or the other? Are we talking about the sets of people that are security men within the campus? Do they leave the estate bare and allow anything to happen to the system? No, you see, there is a last choice, it's a system. So there's no way the system can just be left bare. And there's need to really understand the workings of that system. The issue also had to do with this component of IPPIS. Yes, you see, a a lot had been said about this IPPIS, but any individual within the university campus would not feel very happy if the ethics of the university setting is eroded. If we are trying to talk about the internationalization of our university setting, there are lots of things that are required for us to be able to make that. There should be exchanges, and it is within the university setting. If given the real, well, you know, when people talk about autonomy, the autonomy is not as if, okay, let 100% come. No, it's not in that form. We are not talking about 100% financial support or whatever. If given whatever percentage of support, let it be 60 or 65%, and leave that alone to the university. There is a council already in the university setting, and the university setting will be able to decide and say, okay, this is what is coming to us. We know what is coming to us. Now, how do we get the remaining to be able to balance up? Then the council will be able to meet and decide on various issues that will, strategies even, to be able to get the remaining balance and ensure the university setting grows. In other words, creativity and the said innovativeness will come into play on our best to get these things done. But again, when people are crying, they are mostly crying for the masses. They are crying for those that do not have the wherewithal to be able to move, and they are rich in knowledge as well, but they cannot express themselves very well because they have a background that does not support that. So I think for me, I'm hopeful that in no long time, a sort of balance will be reached, and we'll all have cause to rejoice, go back to the classroom, and begin to ensure that our students are taken off the streets. We are really yearning for them. We are really tired of not seeing them around, because that's what we enjoy most, seeing them all around us. And so we are praying fervently that the current intervention of the Honorable, the House of Assembly, the President of the House will help us out to be able to get this thing done. And then again, there is need for us, with respect to this issue of corruption, to build up a structure, an institutional structure that will not allow such a thing. I mean, you have to find ways. That's why, you know, if you are not settled, you can't be creative. You can't be creative. You have to be settled in some areas. And we are not talking about money. If your environment does not help you out, if you have people kidnapping people all around you, how will you be settled to do anything? Then your mindset will now go on to them, and then you begin to say, what is happening there? Hope they are not nearby you, and so on and so forth. There are so many things. But you see, if you give the universities the opportunity, with the set of human resources that they have, I bet you this nation will change. Let government really have recourse to the university setting. We know there can be 100% faithfuls in any setting. Because we're talking of one of us being involved in one thing or the other. Well, you can't have 100%. And it's always very important for us to check what really transcended, you know, before such happened, even though it is not the best, no matter the situation. But what I'm saying in effect is that once the environment is in order and we have a structure that will check all these issues of corruption, I bet you most of these things, even though we may not have 100% correction, I'm sure we'll be able to make a large change there. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. Want to appreciate you. All right, a quick one, Mr. Samuel, sir.
Sorry, Mr. Mayor, before you go,
Right,
because Professor Bamire may want to leave anytime soon. I want to crave their indulgence. Like they rightly said when attending to my question, that we shouldn't give up trying to encourage the youth to come in to do things that will affect the common good, so to say. So going to that, I want to ask their permission because here there is a policy of privacy, law of privacy. So I want to ask their permission for this video that is recorded, because we have large platforms all over the place. So where we can disseminate this. The most important thing is our guest speakers are here and are able to give us the message that we need. So now sharing the message across, whether they give us the permission to go ahead with that, that is one. Two, one thing I will, because I believe Professor Bamire is closer to the top right now, and who knows, from there it might become the minister or even get to the position of presidency next time. So I want to please employ him concerning one thing I learned about this place. I am into so many offices in this, or did I say committees in this school, where we talk, we discuss whatever policies is about to be made about students in this school. They involve us as a rep of the students, and there is nothing even when they are about to change the school regulations, they ensure that we are part of that. And whatever we say, they always make it count in whatever policy they want to make about the school. So please, transforming that to the Nigerian settings, I want to employ Professor Bamire in this case, that just like the society has abandoned the school with their research, because I don't know how a society can develop without the people you are paid to go into research about the events about the society. And once they research, you abandon the research. Even projects are nothing to write home about when it comes to undergraduate projects right now, let alone master thesis. These are things, not to talk of even PhD are becoming something not worthwhile. These are researches that people should take cognizance of, because whatever research we engage in is about an ill or a problem in the society so that someone wants to have solutions. But unfortunately, our politicians are not. I discussed one time with Professor Oladoshu, and he was expressing this kind of regrets that when that research is done, it is just abandoned or thrown under wherever it is. The same way, in the school settings, the student's voice are not really included in decision made by students. I don't know whether, because that's the major thing I learned about this place, and that is what is helping this place to grow, whether we can introduce that as well into our settings in Nigeria. I've met with so many leaders of the society, the councillors or the mayors. When we are discussing, they involve us in whatever discussion they are making, because they know they have invested a lot into this university, and the research that comes out of it is very important to the growth of that society. So they take schools and students, they take them very important. So I want to employ you as a policy maker for the school, and this very soon become policy maker for the society, to please take this. This is one of the things, because the question I asked about apathy, these are the things that discourage people from doing a good research, since they are not being used in the first place. Let alone undergraduate projects that have become water, people are abandoning it. People are now doing copy and paste, because they know even if they invest their time into it, nobody will reckon with it. So please, I want to implore you to please take a look into this in your own little way, how you can help our society in this way. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. If I will quickly say one thing about that, so just something. You see, actually, the structure here in the university setting, in our university, is that students are involved in most of the activities. But, you know, we always have this problem with the leaders of the unions, student unions at times. And it's like they go into excesses at a time when they are actually supposed to come along with the management to discuss issues. But I want to thank God, even for our own university, there is a change now. The leadership structure is now different, and they are really in tune with what is going on now, and are really being part of the developmental programs, even within the university. I want to tell you that we are really working together. We have the Dean Student Affairs, we have the Deputy Vice Chancellor Academic, and even the entire principal officers and management team that are working together with the students, even to ensure that the little that we have, we are able to see through them and manage them properly to ensuring that the university is kept okay. You are very, very right when you say students have to be carried along. So why are we here in the real sense of it? This is not part of the build-up. We are mentors. We are supposed to really guide them into knowing most of these things. And incidentally, I want to tell you that we have postgraduate students here that have enriched themselves, in various other areas that are also being used as part of the resource personnel, even within the university setting, in various programs. So I'm just trying to point out one or two things where students are easily involved in most of these things. And in terms of carrying out research, in fact, we are moving a bit ahead now. That if you are in, for example, in the department of building, along the line, is it possible for you to use to build maybe a toilet or even a building together with others, along the line before you get out of school, and score your marks based on that? Even if you involve some groups of people coming together, some school groups of students coming together and demonstrating this with the assurance that by the time these students get out of school, they will find it difficult even looking for white-collar job, just go straight, and they will also be guided through some getting some soft loans, within the system, and they will be able to move. No, actually, I want to tell you that there are creative ways that are coming up now to ensure that most of our students are enriched in totality. And that is why I'm also imploring you from over there, whatever opportunities that you see there that can benefit our students here in all ways, let us know about them, please. This is a forum that I'm not taking for granted. I don't believe I'm just being invited to come and talk, but I want to say that all those that are involved in this particular symposium, I am charging you, whenever you have anything that you feel could be helpful to the system, please let us know. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Professor. All right, sir. We've already, it's 4 o'clock. And Mr. Samuel, please, a quick one, sir. A quick one. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I'm Samuel, originally from Ghana. Mine is perhaps a contribution, but I will also make a request. In every African socioeconomic political discourse, there is one word that keeps reoccurring. And this word, I've heard it here, it's no different, it's corruption. My problem with this word is that it is not only a cliche, but it has become redundant.
Yeah.
In Africa, or where I come from, Ghana, if the ordinary person goes to steal plantain, he is called a thief.
Yes.
The same applies to mobile phones.
Yeah.
So why do we call it corruption for the high in position, the powerful, the politicians and that? The name is a thief. So why don't we call it that way? That they are thieves, as the Igbo would say, Onyaoshi, or the Yoruba would say, Ole.
Ole.
And the people will understand, and that will motivate them to act. And until we do that, this cliche is not taking us anywhere. I've done that in Ghana, but I'm not getting anywhere. Could we start calling these people thieves and not, in Ghana, they even say, what is it? Causing financial loss to the states. What animal is that? They are thieves. So we should do that. And I would appreciate to hear your points on that. Thank you.
Anyway, if I may be permitted to say something on that, that's a very funny and interesting one anyway. Although the word thief is not the same thing as the word corruption. Corruption is involve a lot of things more than stealing. For instance, corruption is an abuse of a system for personal aggrandizement. Yeah. So you may be a thief and not involved in the corruption of things. I don't know. That's my simple way. I'm not a professor. The professor are in the house, I give it over to them.
Professor, over to you, sir. Please do justice to that, sir.
May I suggest that we let Professor Ekola have a go at that, if he's still around. He once delivered a paper here that people have been asking me about, and I think he touched on something like that. Is Professor Ekola still in the house?
I don't think so. He crave indulgence. That
okay,
I think, yeah, he crave indulgence.
Well, now, this corruption of a thing, let me just, a moment. I think a friend who just spoke, I think Mr. Samuel, was right. Why not call a spade a spade? Somebody steals a cell phone and we say it's a thief, beat him to pop, send him to jail. Somebody steals 90-something billion naira, we say he is corrupt, and we organize a plea bargain. He returns some money, he goes home, marries more wife, and enjoys his loot. I think there's a disconnect there. Unless we begin to take these matters seriously. Now, if you want to discourage, this is what my philosophy of law has taught me. And it's basic psychology too. We reinforce behavior by reward, we discourage behavior by punishment. If we leave these people alone to be plea bargaining and they slap on the wrist and organize things the way our ruling class have a way of doing it to make things right for themselves, we will forever be using that moribund word corruption. I'm afraid I have to go. My battery is down. I once again thank you. My Vice Chancellor, well done, sir. And
Sir, before you go, do you give permission? I've already asked.
Yes, I do.
Professor.
I had the question. You can go ahead. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank
because,
you.
that's the major purpose of the.
Okay.
Professor Bamire, do you give us the permission as well?
Okay. Yeah. Thank you very much. Yeah. Thank you, and thank you, Mr. Samuel, for that interesting one that you just threw at us. Actually, it's like a word that is given to the powerful ones. That word, corruption, is actually meant for those up there. I don't think it is meant for those that are below the poverty line. Because below the poverty line, you call the person what he or she is. You say he's a thief, you say this, you say that. But up there are technical terms that are always created to ensure that they bamboozle the entire citizenry to be able to get at
I think he has a network issue.
Yeah, a network glitch from his side.
So I'm not so sure whether anyway, once he joins, he can complete his statements. I'm not so sure whether the other two speakers are here, and our time is fast spent. We want to stick to time. We will contact them. Probably we will arrange one-on-one with them some other time. We just have to call it a day at this moment. It's been a wonderful time. The permission I sought, I think I can say he has permitted that, so we can go ahead. The purpose is to share this information we received today. Okay, he's back. You are muted, sir. Please unmute yourself.
Sorry, I don't know what really happened. I was actually trying to call Famak to know what really happened.
I think it's
now, what I was saying is actually that, whether corruption, whether thief, whether any name, bribery, any fraudulent act, the law is meant to check that in the real sense of it. The law, if well executed and implemented, is actually supposed to handle that. That is why putting the right structure and having the right sets of people there, to carry out all these things will help a lot. The law is actually, in the real sense of it, meant for people like that, people in that category. The thieves, those in the behaving abnormally, within the system. The law is actually supposed to address them. The law is not meant for those who are doing the right thing. And so to me, I don't know whether we call it thief or corruption or whatever. The main thing is that let whatever system is put in place be one that will be trustworthy and that will be fair enough to ensure that the sanctions that are supposed to be placed on them are fair enough and done in an equal manner, so that some people will not feel that they are cheated. The feelings of being cheated is also something that leads to people not believing the government of the day or any leader within at any point in time. So I think, to me, I would say whether corruption or thief, let the structures be in place to check all of them at the same time. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. We want to appreciate you. Thank you. So, Mr. Andrew Dela, please, can you please give us or your closing remarks, sir? At time had gone.
So, sir, you see, I haven't given us the confirmation whether we can go ahead and publicize this, because as you have encouraged us, we shouldn't give up. We keep encouraging our youths, and there are so many of them, and that's one. Two, anytime you are around in Cambridge or London, anytime you are in the UK, we would love to have a one-on-one with you. When Peter Obi came around, we were able to tie him down, and Bola Ahmed Tinubu says Asiwaju is around now, and we are tying him down as well. So whoever a great Nigerian that is coming around, we always want to tie them down to have one-on-one with them. So I hope we can look forward to that with you as well, and we can always reach you anytime.
Yeah, definitely. Let me say yes. You see, this is an in-house discussion, and you be nice for us to be part of the team. If there is a communique that is coming out of our discussion now, let it be shared within us first, and then can go out. Hello?
Yes, sir. I got that.
Hello?
We got that, sir. Yes. Can you hear, sir?
I hope you are hearing me. Hello?
We are hearing you loud and clear, sir.
Hello?
Yes, we are.
So
we can hear you.
let whatever that is to go out be shared amongst those that are present, and then we now give an agreed free publication or whatever to whatever, to whatever is in that document. The other one is that at any point in time, really, I'll be very, very much happy to go over there and for us to discuss and even bring our people over there together. We have a lot of alumni there. We have a lot of people that are citizens there, and we want to really meet with them and discuss, because we need a lot of fora like this that will bring people's thoughts together, so that we should not all lose hope. We shouldn't lose hope. If we lose hope, that means we are saying that there is no Nigeria again. There must be Nigeria. It must continue. And in order for it to continue, we have to cultivate the ideas in various sectors and bring them together to think one, think one, grow Nigeria in all areas. And we will be good for it. Our population is our strength.
That's cool.
Our population is a great strength to us. We may not know it. And so if it is a strength to us, we must find all ways to ensure that we continue in it and build it up, growing the nation as a Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Once again,
really appreciate that.
And happy Independence celebration.
Thank you, sir. Really appreciate that. We appreciate your time. And
We
we'll get back to you on
day,
the
God bless you.
Thank you so much.
Before
sir.
we go, I want to recognize the presence of the student coordinator for the whole of UK. He's on the call, Yemi Soile. Probably he can be the one to give the roundup on that speech. Are you there,
Okay,
Mr. Yemi Soile?
Before Mr. Yemi comes on board, I think we have few people at Mid-Church here that we've not recognized them. Mr. Charity Chukwemeka, MC Wonder, Abayomi Musaku, Vincent Ugucha. I'm seeing Vincent Ugucha here. And also a wonderful pastor, Pastor Markinde. God bless you, sir. And to all our professors that have spoken since morning. All right. And also Mr. Samuel, Olayinka Thomas, Orogun Dade. Also, okay, Mr. Yemi Sole, please, can you please have the floor, sir?
Please, before you go, the person you just mentioned, Vincent Uguta, that's another great person who has been a wonderful help to Nigerians, especially Nigerian students coming to the UK. He's been a part of the association and he's been a rock behind this association. We cannot, I don't know whether he's there to just say a word or two. And the charity as well is a charitable person. She's also a help to the association. Vincent, are you there? Before Mr. Yemi round it off.
Yes, I'm here. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, sir. Thank you for the speakers. We are really grateful for the insights and the message has been passed across. Thank you very, very much. We are grateful.
That's great. Oh, is Charity there? Maybe she's far from the phone. So,
Charity, Charity, hi there. Okay. MC Wonder, hi there.
MC Wonder, are you there?
Mr. Abayomi Musaku, how are you there, sir?
Yeah, sure, I'm here.
All right. Thank you so much, sir.
Having you all. Professor Bamire. I graduated from IFE 2000 and
great IFE.
Yeah,
great.
So it's nice hearing
me
exporting the whole impact back to Cambridge. So
that's great. That's great.
From computer science department there. Keep God all the praise.
Oh wow, that's great.
Thank you, sir. Great speech.
Thank you very much. Great effect.
Mr. Yemi, over to you, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Over to you, sir. The closing prayer. And few words.
Okay. Thank you very much. Our dear professors and leaders in the room today. We are really honored to have you with us all the way from Nigeria. It shows your commitment towards youth development and the development of our great country, Nigeria, and our continent. We would ensure that we continue to liaise with you and work with you, because it's very important, like a lot of us that are here, if things were the way it should be back home, we won't be in this country. Our country is greater than, where we are. We have, the numbers, the human resource, the natural resources, everything it takes. But unfortunately, we know where we are. And, we believe there's hope for, greatness for our nation and our continent. And, according to this quote from Nelson Mandela, that it falls upon a generation to be great, and that generation can be ours if we decide. And that's what we're doing. With everything we're doing, we have different Nigerian societies in different universities, and we connect to ensure that, we are great ambassadors of our country. Thank you very much, Andrew, and the team. Very well done for putting this together. And, across the UK, different societies are also having theirs. So, we just keep encouraging ourselves. Even though we are back home, we are not disconnected. So thank you very much, our host, our MC, everybody in the building. God bless you. Also, the prof from Ghana. Thank you very much, Mr. Sam, for joining. Also, Professor Femi Makinde, everyone, Vincent, Abayami, MC Wonder Charity. God bless you all. I pray that as we go back to our businesses and our endeavors, God will continue to multiply us and keep us, protect us and our family.
Amen. Amen. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Amen.
Pastor Femi Makinde, please give us final prayer, then we go.
I just want to say thank you to the Lord Almighty who has given us this wonderful platform. I want to thank God, and I want to specially thank Professor Bamire. It was just a very short notice. I've been trying to connect with him. I was only able to get him today, and he gave his consent straight away. That shows that he has a very great commitment for the greatness of Nigeria. The Lord will bless you. The Lord will keep you. And for everybody that have honored this occasion, thank you. May God bless each and every one of us. You shall be hearing from us from time to time, and Nigeria will be great again. Great Britain will not go down, and wherever Nigeria are making way all over the world, they will always point to the greatness of Nigeria. And I say, in the name of the Lord Jesus Christ, we are going to have the rest of this year will be the best of this year for each and every one of us. Amen. Thank you. God bless you.
Amen. Amen.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, everyone. It's wonderful to have you. We say goodbye to everyone. Thank you, sir.
Bye-bye.
Really appreciate it. Bye-bye, sir.
Well,
Bye.
thank
Bye.
you.
Bye.
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 Yeah.